Hi, this is Mitch Doan, and along with Jamie Richardson, we're your hosts of the Break-Thru Active podcast. We aim to deep dive into health and fitness that will help bring you a better understanding of topics that are of interest to you and can help you on your own journey. If you are enjoying the episodes, we'd love for you to leave us a rating on the platform you listen to your podcasts. Enough from me, sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Break-Thru Active podcast. My name is Mitch. I'm your host again. Before we get into today's topic, I did have a fun fact for you. I like to think it's fun, but some of you guys may know, but if you are listening today, it is June the 21st, which just so happens to be the winter solstice. So what that means is that today, June 21st, every single year is the day with the shortest amount of sunshine here in Australia. So what that means is after today, days are getting longer again, which is always a nice change, knowing that we are on our way back to spring and summer and some warmer weather and daylight savings and all that good stuff that the end of the year brings. So just so you know, you might need it. Trivia night or at some point, June the 21st, every year, shortest day. And then at the other end, December the 21st is the longest day. So there you go. You can thank me later. Okay, today's topic is about step count and why it is so important. So in recent years, I feel like that this has become definitely more of a thing that people are able to track for themselves because of the use of fitness wearables, so watches and bands and whatever else that people may use to keep track of roughly how many steps that they do each day. In addition to that as well, I should mention that I know iPhones have something that tracks it. I assume that Android does as well. But you are actually able to keep track of more or less how many steps you do every day. So in times gone by, there used to be a thing, I believe they were called pedometers, where it was like a little thing that you'd put on top of your belt or on top of your pants, and it again would estimate how many steps you do each day. Not quite as accurate as they are these days, but like I mentioned earlier, most people do have access to at least their smartphone or a band or watch, which is going to be able to help them see how much activity they do each day as it relates to their steps. So the reason why I think it has become more of a topic of interest is because of this, because it is something that people can look at and see, okay, I've done 6,500 steps today. So maybe that shows them that they are wanting to do more activity that day, or they get up and they go for an extra walk, which is great. But in times gone by, without having something to be able to measure it, it wasn't really known how many steps you would do. So the general amount of what people are aiming for is 10,000 steps. And the reason for that, I'm not 100% sure. I've done quite a bit of research to see why this is, but I think that was just a nice whole round number. And the idea of saying I've done 10,000 steps in a day sounded appealing. From what I did find, though, 8,000 steps is considered to be a little more accurate in terms of a really healthy amount for people to aim for on a day-to-day basis. So if you aren't quite getting to 10 every day, 8,000 has been proven to be pretty good. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about why it is important and why step count is important to most of us, even more so than what can be thought initially, as it relates to weight loss and fat loss and things like that, but also some other reasons why it's really important too. So the first reason, and probably the most obvious reason, is it does help us expend more energy, and that is burning more calories. I'm going to be talking about this later on in the week as it relates to NEAT. So I won't dive into that too much here today, but in general, the more we walk, it means more activity we are getting, which means that we are expending more energy and burning more calories. So that is just plain and simple. It's science. So the more we move, the more we burn. As it is for, I guess, an example or a specific amount. So around about 35 to 50 calories can get burned for every additional 1,000 steps that you take. So if you are doing another extra 5,000 steps in a day, you're going to burn probably somewhere between 175 and 250 more calories than you normally would. So that's always a nice thing to keep in mind, and know that if you are putting in some extra steps, and you are looking to drop some body fat and looking to monitor your calories a little bit more, then this is a really good way to do that. And if you are a number geek, then these are the numbers that you need to look for. On top of this, typically when we are getting more steps in, we are getting more sunshine as well. So not always, obviously you can do your steps indoors, whether it's around your house or your office or in the shops or somewhere undercover. But for the most part, if we are walking more, we are getting more sunshine. So when we're getting more sunshine, it means we're getting more exposure to the sun, which means we have an increase in our vitamin D intake. And I'm sure all of us, at least have heard of that. But the main thing that you are going to benefit from with more vitamin D is increased and improved mood. So you're more likely to be in a better mood if you get some exposure to the sun. Obviously, within reason, you don't want to be out there all the time, especially in the summer months when the sun is a little hotter and more harsh. And so making sure you wear sunscreen and take appropriate measures in that respect. But if we are able to get exposure to the sun every day, even if it is 10, 15, 20 minutes, obviously it's dependent on the weather and the rain, but the more sun we get typically, especially in the cooler months when we are inside more, the better. It's going to help boost your mood, which is good for you and good for everyone else who has to put up with your shitty mood as well. On top of this, it helps us get more fresh air. So again, something that our parents have probably been telling us for years and years and years. I know mine did, to get out and go get some more fresh air. But it has been shown to help boost your immunity. And I think the main reason for that is it does get us out of the office space or the rooms or the house, which has a lot of circulated air, whether it is in the warmer months where you have the cold air running, obviously an air conditioner, or in the cooler months where you're having warm air running. We've got air that is just circulating around the office or around the house, and it's very easy, for germs and things to be spread and more likely to get sick. But also being out in the fresh air helps boost that immunity because you are exposed to some of the more natural germs and things out in the open, and the more exposure we get to that on a regular basis, the less likely we are to fall victim to that with sickness, and therefore our immunity is better. So the more fresh air we get, the better. Plus, it just makes us feel good when we are out. We get all those aromas and all those smells and scents from being outside, especially if you do have a nice walk where you may be in a bit of nature. So all in all, more fresh air is better. And the last one I did want to talk about as well is it will help improve your posture. So when we are not as active, which means that typically we are going to be sitting more, when we are sitting more, again, this isn't rocket science, but it will impact our postures. So when we're in that seated position, our hips are going to get really tight, our mid-back is going to get really tight, our neck is going to get tight, just from the positioning that we are when we are seated, especially if you are at a computer or a tablet or something where you are leaning forward. It's going to have impacts on your posture there. So the more that we get out and the more we walk, for starters, it's going to get us out of this position where we are in that deep hip flexion. We've got that rounded back, so we are leaning forward, our arms and our head is forward, so it's going to impact our upper back and our neck area there as well. It's going to also have some ramifications for the muscles opposing those parts of the body there as well. But the more that we are out of that position, the more we are standing and walking, we're in upright position, we're stretching, we're getting some good movement in both our lower extremities and then our upper body there as well. So it's a bit of a double bungler because we're getting out of that poor position where we are seated, leaning forward, and we're in a good position, which is standing up straight and moving. So that is one of the ones that I guess a lot of people don't really think about, because they think about sitting as bad, but then obviously if we're not sitting, typically we are going to be moving and walking. So it works well in both respects. So they're my four. So just to rehash quickly, first one is more movement, more activity means we're expending more energy and burning more calories. Second one is we get more sunshine, which means more vitamin D and improves our mood. Third one, we get more fresh air, which helps our immunity and less likely to get sick. And then the last one is an improved posture. So get us out of that seated position into that healthy standing and walking point and position that our body's in is a lot better for that and our overall posture and well-being too. So thanks for listening, guys. Hope this helps, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If there is a topic you'd like us to discuss that we haven't already, please make sure you reach out in Facebook Messenger and we'll do our best to cover it in the upcoming episodes. For those of you enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to like, subscribe and leave us a rating. It really helps us grow and spread the good word. Hoping you're all having a great day, and we'll be sure to see you on the next one.